We've arrived to week 4 of the 2025 college football season. Welcome into Got It Covered. I'm Giovanni Heater alongside my good friend Raza Umarani. And Raza, this season's already starting to fly by a little bit here, my friend. We're 4 weeks deep.
Yeah, after this week, a third of most teams' schedules will be over. That's like insane to think about. But on the flip side, this is where we start to get into conference play for those teams with 9-game conference schedules, which will soon be everybody. But this week, you're looking at what the Big 12 and the Big 10 will start conference play. A lot of ACC conference play starts this week as well. So now you're getting into the meat and potatoes, right? No more playing Villanova and Incarnate Word. It's time to play the big boys on your schedule.
That's quite the blow to Villanova and Incarnate Word. Very
Well,
disrespectful.
I have a lot of respect for those programs, obviously. Incarnate Word gave us Cam Ward, so I
Indeed.
gotta give them a ton of props. But it's a big jump to go from that to playing Oregon if you're Penn State next week.
All right, let's go ahead and break down some of the marquee matchups of this week. And I think a great place to start is Texas Tech on the road to play Utah. You got a top 17 matchup here. Texas Tech ranked 17th in the AP poll. Utah is 16th. And this is a massive game in the Big 12. Coming into this season, I was super high on Texas Tech, had them playing for the Big 12 championship against Arizona State. Now seeing what we've seen 3 weeks into football, I think Utah's the favorite in the Big 12.
Right.
They've looked like the best team out of that conference, no question about it. And I still think Texas Tech is that team right behind them. So we might be getting a preview of the Big 12 championship game here.
I think what this game does is set the tone moving forward for who's going to be the favorite in the Big 12. Essentially, the winner of this game, it becomes their conference to lose, essentially, right? Now, granted, you still have the entirety of conference play left. I remember last year we were looking at like Oklahoma State. They were ranked at the start of Big 12 play. And I can't recall who they were playing, but it was like, oh, if they win this game and they assert themselves on top of the conference, and they lost and then went 0-9. So you never know what it could look like. But both of these teams have looked very impressive through 3 weeks. I know Utah they were trolling just a wee bit against like Cal Poly and Wyoming and whatever. But the fact of the matter is, like, we know they're really good. And it's always a well-coached team under Kyle Whittingham. So this being a home game for them at Rice-Eccles Stadium, the way that they're playing on both sides of the ball, particularly the way that Devin Dampier is playing for them, makes me want to lean that way. But I know you were high on Texas Tech coming into the year, and their offense has been amazing. Their quarterback, Baron Morton, is slinging it all over the place. I still give the advantage here to Utah. I mean, looking at the spread, it's Utah, -2.5. I think that's a little spooky, kind of a smelly number. It's like making me think, okay, if the wise guys like Texas Tech so much, maybe I shouldn't, lean on Utah here. But how many times do we pick Utah to win these big games just because they're at home? That's, again, what I'm going to do here. So give me the Utes to win this one and cover. I like them to get a big win. And Devin Dampier on national TV becomes a household name for the Heisman.
Utah is 2.5-point favorites at home in Salt Lake City. To your point, 56.5 is the over under here. I think we're going to see some points. No question about that. We got two awesome offenses. I'm also going to go with Utah here. And it really comes down to the atmosphere. We know how much of a spectacle it can be at that stadium. Going to be rocking. Huge game, though. Huge game. And I think we're previewing the Big 12 championship here. I really do. I think Iowa State's in that conversation. You can't count out Arizona State fully yet. I think Mississippi State maybe is a little better than we had originally anticipated. That was a tough road environment with the cowbells going and everything like that too. But I do think there's a chance right now you're previewing the Big 12 title game, and definitely going to be a fascinating matchup. I'll go with Utah to cover the 2.5 points as well. But I would be shocked if it was a situation where they win by any more than a possession. I'll put it that way.
An interesting factor to consider here, Gio, is that this is big noon kickoff, which is 10 o'clock local, 10 a.m. local. That's
so
an
bizarre.
early start. It's a really early start. So I'm pretty sure it's 10 o'clock. I don't think Salt Lake's 3 hours behind, but like that means it's either 2 or 3 hours behind, right? So Rice-Eccles is an incredible spectacle at night I wonder what it's going to look like at the wee hours of the morning. Not the wee hours of the morning, but for a college football Saturday, that's pretty damn early.
Yeah, no, Salt Lake City, you're right, is in the mountain time zone. So it is
Yeah,
10 a.m. Local time kick coming up. And those are things that we should know, but we don't have to deal with that. We're on the Eastern time zone and it feels like the world revolves around us sometimes.
it always does.
Exactly. Let's go ahead to our next matchup here. Number 22, Auburn on the road at number 11, Oklahoma. Big game out of the SEC. Oklahoma has a chance to prove a lot, I think. And then on the same breath, Auburn has a chance to reinsert themselves into the conversation here, into the thick of things. We know Auburn was able to fend off Baylor earlier this season and pick up a big win there. What do you like between these two teams coming up on Saturday?
So, a couple interesting storylines here, right? This is the Jackson Arnold revenge game. Going back to Norman, I assume they will not be giving him a very warm welcome.
Probably not. Wasn't a great year last year.
No, it was not. John Mateer is the current odds-on favorite to win the Heisman Trophy. Now, take that with a grain of salt because it's September 18th today.
Who said that he could be a sleeper for that?
That guy.
There
that guy. I can't see what they see, so it's like.
Oh, you can't? I never knew that.
Yeah, well, I'm flipped on my screen, is what I should say. So yeah, it's an interesting quarterback battle because Jackson Arnold has a chance to go in there and show them that maybe he's the better option that they should have kept, but the stats would not indicate that to be the case right now through 3 weeks. For me, man, I think this game comes down to defense, right? And like, I really like what I've seen out of Oklahoma's defense, albeit against not incredible offenses. Like, again, don't get me wrong. We were just talking about FCS opponents. It's not like Oklahoma's played a gauntlet, but they did beat a pretty good Michigan team. Now, Auburn beat a pretty good Baylor team because they were able to outscore them. Oklahoma beat Michigan because of the way their defense played in that game, and then Mateer did the rest. I think that's a more favorable way to win games in the SEC, although there's a lot of points being scored these days, so who knows? But I think that Oklahoma's just got a better formula to win. And sorry, Jackson, I think they made the right choice. I think they have the better quarterback. So I think it's going to look similar to that Michigan game with maybe a little bit more points on the board, both sides. I like Oklahoma to win this game. Maybe not cover because the number's a little stank, but I think Oklahoma gets the job done at home, and probably they're in the top 10 next week.
OU 7.5-point favorites at home. 47.5 is the over-under on this game in Norman. When I look at this game and I look at Jackson Arnold, the numbers on paper don't look bad. In fact, they look pretty good so far this year, passing the football. But then when you dive a little bit deeper, it's been a lot of intermediate passing games, these short over the middle routes, these check downs. You look at his spray chart, they're not throwing the ball down the field whatsoever. They're not explosive in any capacity. Auburn is 101st in explosive pass rate.
Wow.
I think Oklahoma is going to position themselves where they're going to force them. The only way to put points on the board is going to be trying to throw the ball down the field. And we have not seen proof that Jackson Arnold and this Auburn team is going to be able to do that. Now, I will say he's going to have some dogs to throw the ball to if they are forced to start throwing the ball down the field. I mean, you know what Cam Coleman brings to the table, and he's not the only one either. They stole that kid from Georgia Tech, Rivers. So, like, Singleton. Sorry, Eric Rivers is on Georgia Tech. They stole Singleton. Exactly. I always get those two
swapped out an Eric for an Eric. Is what
yes, exactly. I think Auburn's going to be forced to throw the ball down the field, and we just haven't seen their ability to do it. The thing that gives you a little bit of hope is the wide receiver room. I don't know if they have the quarterback to do that. And to your point, John Mateer is the much better quarterback in my eyes in this game. So give me Oklahoma to win at home. I think they cover that hook, though, bro. It'll get you. The 7.5 will definitely get you. I'll take them to cover. I will, because I'm not very high on Auburn. But wouldn't be shocked if this game was decided by a touchdown instead of 10 points or whatever. So
agreed.
But I'll take Oklahoma to cover at 7.5.
I agree.
Let's move on to our next matchup here. Number 21, Michigan on the road at Nebraska. An interesting Big Ten matchup here. This one's fascinating to me. First of all, the place is going to be a zoo, as it should be. Probably the
Yeah.
best crowd they'll have since that Colorado game last year.
Yeah. Well, they do sell out every crowd, but it'll be raucous there for
They
sure.
do, but they take it up a notch sometimes. Like with any
Yes.
joint, when you
Yes.
got a big team coming into town. And Michigan in particular rubs anybody in the Big Ten a certain way. So
Exactly.
place is gonna be rocking. Big spot for Dylan Raiola, big spot for Matt Rule, big spot for the Cornhuskers, because in a way, I think you can start to insert yourself in some conversations here. Now, we're not super high on Michigan. We haven't really taken Michigan to win many big games up to this point, right? We kind of saw what happened earlier this year with the Wolverines coming in their one loss. But they are a fringe playoff team for me. I don't think Bryce Underwood has lived up to how good we thought he was going to be.
Right.
So maybe my preseason expectations have faded a little bit. I like Nebraska in the big spot. Michigan's 1.5 point favorites on the road. I like Nebraska to win the game. 46.5 is the over under at Memorial Stadium in Lincoln. Give me the Huskers. I think this is a big spot for Dylan Raiola and Matt Rule, and could kind of surge them forward. There's people that are picking Nebraska to go to the playoff. I don't
Yeah.
know if I'm going to go that crazy, but this is a game you win if that's the Nebraska team you're getting.
I think it's so tricky, right? I feel like Nebraska and under Matt Rule has been searching for their signature win. It probably is last year's Colorado game, which fair enough. I mean, Colorado was pretty good last year, right? So that was
And Heisman Trophy winner.
that's right. So that
Won
was a
9
pretty
games.
that was a good win for Nebraska last year. I don't want to diminish that, but I guess they're looking for that big conference win. This would be it. I know this isn't Michigan at the height of their powers, but it's still a ranked Michigan team coming into Lincoln. I also think we need to see like a vintage Raiola game. Now, what is that, right? Because he's not shown anything crazy. I guess what we need is like the breakout Raiola game. A game where he does not play so loose that he gets careless, which he has a propensity to do from time to time. Although he hasn't thrown an interception this year. I like Nebraska to win this game sheerly because I don't know how Bryce Underwood's going to react to another tough road environment. We saw how poorly he played in Norman. This is an extremely, extremely similar environment. Obviously, Nebraska and Oklahoma have ties going way back there. It's a sea of red once again, and it can be known to be a tougher place to play because they pack out 100,000 people in that
Oh, yeah.
stadium with the balloons and everything. So I just trust the coaching and the quarterback a little bit more. It's not by much. I promise you it's not by much. And I understand why Michigan's favored in this game. They've at least been tested against Oklahoma. I mean, Nebraska hasn't. The only team really Nebraska's played this year is Cincinnati, and they escaped by the skin of their teeth. So I could hear you out on Michigan. I could hear anybody out on Michigan, but my gut tells me Nebraska. I feel like I can trust them a little bit more in this spot. So we'll see what Raiola has to cook up. Baby Mahomes. Listen, regular Mahomes is not fun to watch on Sundays anymore. So hopefully, Baby Mahomes is on Saturday at 3:30 on CBS.
All right, we're both taking the Cornhuskers. How about Florida on the road at number 4, Miami? I'm sorry, dude. I'll let you go first for this one.
Okay, I'm not doing it again. Remember last week I was like, oh, there's a reason why Florida's only a touchdown dog in this game. Vegas knows something we don't respect and this and that and the other. Now, granted, Florida Miami is a little different than Florida LSU, but I can't, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me, right? So like, I don't actually. I think it might be
What about
reversed,
fool
but
me 3 times? J. Cole will let you know.
yeah, forget the peace sign. I'm not going to be bitten by this snake twice. I'm going to take Miami, and I'm going to take Miami to cover simply because I've learned my lesson from last week. I have no idea how anybody can put any faith in DJ Lagway right now, or Billy Napier for that matter. I understand Florida's defense has played well this year, but Miami, in my opinion, has looked the most balanced in terms of equally dominant on both sides of the ball of any team in college football this year.
Yeah.
Especially the way they're built on the offensive and defensive lines. Carson Beck, in my opinion, is probably the front runner for the Heisman right now. He's played really well. They have great receivers, CJ Daniels, Malachi Tony. I think that this could be close in the same way I think every rivalry game could be close. And I think it'll actually be a lot more Florida fans at this game, but I don't know what that matters when your quarterback can't throw to the guys wearing the same color jersey as you. So not doing this thing twice in a row. Give me the Canes.
Miami 7.5-point favorites. 51.5 is the number on the over-under. It's at Hard Rock Stadium in Miami Gardens. I think Miami absolutely obliterates Florida. I think this is the nail in the coffin game for the Billy Napier era in Gainesville.
Yeah.
I think the locker room in ways is lost. I think they've put this, and rightfully so, because of, his 5-star stature coming in and everything. They've given the keys of the kingdom to DJ Lagway. And in every way, it has crashed and burned. And there was hype coming into this year, and there were expectations, and there was hope and excitement and buzz because of how last season ended. Doesn't this sound a little familiar, my friend, to a situation we saw unfold in Blacksburg?
A teensy bit.
But 5 interceptions last week for DJ Lagway against LSU showed us everything we needed to know after performing quite poorly against USF the week prior and only being able to mutter 16 points at home. And Miami just obliterated USF. Now, I'm not a big believer in okay, Miami beat the crap out of USF and Florida lost to USF at home. So
every week is different.
Every week's different, right? And especially rivalry game, you can throw a lot out the window. But I just feel like Miami has a serious argument to be the number 1 team in the country.
Mm-hmm.
And Florida is crashing and burning and can't even get out of its own way. So I think Miami absolutely rolls in this. I get why the number's only 7.5. I see Miami winning this by 17 or more. I kid you not.
It's listen, the correct wise guy play is the correct wise guy play is Florida plus 7.5. The same way it was last week, by the way. And that would have hit if DJ Lagway could throw the ball to the guys wearing blue. But he can't. So
Florida's defense is all right for what it's worth.
They are. And I'm telling you, there's a reason why this is a situation where you play the number, not the teams. But I will not be betting this game. Let me put it that way. But if I were, I'd probably take Miami and swallow the points. I'm definitely picking Miami to win the game.
All right. So we both got Miami. So sorry, say it again. Do you have Miami in the spread or not in the spread?
If I were to bet, I would I would swallow the point.
Okay. There you go.
I'm not doing it.
Okay. Number 9, Illinois on the road at number 19, Indiana. This is a banger in the Big Ten. Who could have thunk it? A couple of years ago? Who would have thought this would be a mark?
100%.
Yeah.
Going into this year, this was a game I think a lot of people had circled.
But I'm saying years back, who would have circled this one and been like, yes, one of the best games on the slate, one of the biggest games in the Big Ten all season long. But this is fascinating because I feel like nobody's talking about Indiana. Nobody's talking about them. And a lot of people are talking about Illinois, including us. We're high on Illinois. And Indiana hasn't really played anybody yet. But now they have the opportunity to do so at home in Bloomington. The fact that College Game Day is going to Miami, Florida instead of this is preposterous to me.
I agree.
Ridiculous. I'm sorry, but there's going to be more opportunities to go to Miami games. 1. 2, Florida, what do they offer nothing to the hype of this except a historic rivalry. And 3, it's an hour from campus. It's like doing I hate College Game Day doesn't hit the same at the conference championship weekend.
Exactly.
Why are we doing College Game Day at Hard Rock Stadium? This isn't a Formula 1 race.
No.
So, I was disappointed in that. And I think a lot of people in Bloomington, I'm sure, were as well. But this is a big game. And what do we do if Indiana goes out there and wins this thing? Because nobody's talking about the Hoosiers. Nobody's making room for the Hoosiers right now.
Even though they just went to the college football playoff.
Right, but people have already replaced them with Illinois, including
Mhm.
us, including us. What do you think?
I think that Indiana feels the same way. They share these sentiments. They're like, Kurt Signetti's up there like, "Hey, we just had one of the best offenses in the country and went to the college football playoff. We know how it ended, but we got another star at quarterback. We've got great receivers. Why is nobody talking about us anymore when we're still in a really good spot?" Because they are in a really good spot. And this line has moved quite a bit, a couple points in the direction of the Hoosiers, and I think there's a reason for that. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's not like Bloomington, Indiana is a place that strikes fear into the hearts of those who enter it, but like primetime slot at home, Indiana, biggest game on campus in a minute. I think Illinois is really good, and
I do too.
I think that their defense is one that is capable of stopping this Indiana offense. I also know that Illinois went on the road and beat Duke, which means less today than it did when it happened, but Illinois has not played an FBS, or sorry, a Power 5 opponent, Power 4 opponent, I should say, this year, and they've played 2 FCS teams, I'm pretty sure, right? Like, or Kennesaw State's now in the FBS.
Indiana, you mean?
Indiana, yeah, that's right. I'm sorry. So it feels like we should be picking Illinois, just like based on circumstance. But I actually do like Indiana to win this game. I think it's a bit of a statement game for them. I think there's a chance, a non-zero chance, that Illinois comes out and slings it all over the field, and Luke Altmaier looks like the stud that he is. I would probably take Illinois to cover. I like Illinois way better at 6.5 than I did at 4.5. I think the over is a pretty safe play in this game. There's going to be a lot of points scored, and I think it's going to be really exciting. But I lean Indiana because I think they come out and make a statement.
Indiana's favored by 6.5. 52.5 is the over-under marker. Give me Illinois.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
You know, they're a little more battle tested at the moment, and I think that goes a long way. Going to Indiana and going to Duke are fairly comparable, I think, in
They
our
are.
eyes going into the year. Duke has disappointed. Indiana still looks good, but they haven't played a team like this yet. And what I saw from Illinois was super impressive offensively, but I was even more impressed with their ability to contain Darian Mensah and shut down Duke's offense. I mean,
Mhm.
Duke was not scoring points in the second half of that game. They just couldn't keep up in any way. So Illinois' defense showed a ton of grit on the road already against a power conference opponent who we do know has a good quarterback. I don't think there's disputing that, despite what their record may be. I think Illinois goes on the road and wins this game. I really do. It's just a gut feeling, but Brett Bielema's got a different kind of edge. So does Kurt Signetti. Like, what a coaching matchup. What a coaching matchup. This is like, it's like a soap opera of coaching matchups in this one. No
It is.
question.
It's a lot of personalities.
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot of emotions and tempers flaring in this game. It's going to be awesome. I know where I'll be at 7:30 p.m. on Saturday
Yeah.
night. We're watching
Oh, no
this thing.
question. Well, I'm almost glad we disagree because that makes it more fun for sure. So I'm going to
Exactly.
take Illinois. I don't blame you for taking Indiana either. It's just one of those games, which is awesome.
It is.
One more game to talk about here briefly. Syracuse going on the road to Clemson. And the reason we're bringing up, I know everyone's going to see all the stuff behind me and be like, fellas, what are we doing? Like, take yourselves seriously. You know what I'm saying? But if the reason we're talking about this is more about Clemson, if
Right.
Clemson loses this game, the sky is going to fall in Clemson, South Carolina. I mean, you already saw the emotion out of Dabo Sweeney in his 55-minute press conference, basically going at the media earlier this week. There is a butting of heads right now between the media and Dabo Sweeney. And the perception of Clemson is that they have completely blown it. How do you return all of this production? More returning production than anybody else in the sport of college football, statistically, going into this year. Proven production at that. How do you return all this production and have it crash and burn like this and have a 1-2 record going into week 4. You did play 2 top 25 teams. One of them was on the road. One of them was at your joint. LSU looks like a possible national championship contender. I get all that. But the product on the field, we've talked about it, has been far from par out of Cade Klubnik and specifically the Clemson offense. I think there's a real world where Syracuse goes down there and makes it interesting. During the Dino Babers era, I get it. Fran Brown hasn't played Clemson yet. But during the Dino Babers era, this was always a game. For whatever reason, it was always a game. And particularly in Death Valley, it was always a game. And then you had the one upset up in the Dome. It's the ACC opener for both. There's one team that's facing pressure this week, and it's Clemson.
Yeah.
There's no pressure on Syracuse to go down there and win this game. Nobody expects them to go win this game. I think Clemson's culture and their coaching is next to none. So if anybody can handle that kind of pressure, it would be a team and a program like Clemson. But this is a fascinating game because what is the dialogue if Clemson were to lose on Saturday?
Probably, how do we fund Dabo's buyout and get him out of here by Sunday morning? Like,
and Virginia Tech hires him on the spot.
That I don't know if I want that, to be frank with you.
What? I would take Dabo Swinney in a heartbeat.
I mean, is the reason Clemson is struggling right now because of their talent, or is it because of their coaching?
Well, he's not adapting to the portal.
Right, but I don't think that's a problem necessarily.
No, because they have so much talent on their roster.
Exactly. It would be a problem if they, like, all their best guys were leaving and they weren't supplanting them in any way. Like, they still have a very talented roster. The question is what you said earlier, right? How have we returned all these guys and we suck? You know, that's what I was asking the other day when they lost to Georgia Tech. So I think the dialogue, if Clemson finds a way to screw this up this week, is like, it's not even a dialogue anymore. It's a one-way conversation of it's over. Like, it'd be like, it's a long way back from this.
How do you fire a 2-time national champion who, to his point, they've won the ACC 8 of the last 10 years? How do you fire that guy? They would rue the day because I don't think they would
fire him. I don't think they would fire him immediately.
What I would say to that is the grass is not always greener.
No, it's not.
Like, who are you going to bring in that's going to be better than Dabo? You've won the league 8 of the last 10 years. You can't ask for much more than that.
He is the program.
Right.
He is the program. But the problem is the standard is higher. And that's because of him. But when you fail to live up to your own standard, what does that make you? You know, like, these people have to hold themselves accountable. I think that they're very patient with Dabo and they have a very strong relationship there in that athletic department, but they're not going to keep up with this for a long time. And it's one thing to lose to a good Georgia Tech team or a good LSU team, or last year, like, you know, they lost to Georgia, who's really good. Like, this is next level if you lose it. And with all due respect to Syracuse, you're a 2.5 touchdown favorite in this game. You can't be losing. You just cannot lose.
I don't look at the Georgia Tech and LSU game per se. I look at the fact that Clemson's offense struggled to score points against Troy.
Yeah.
That's what I look at. Like, and you're not for nothing. I understand who Syracuse has played thus far. They have played Tennessee. They've played Tennessee, UConn, and Colgate. You're playing the nation's leading passer right now on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Syracuse's offense put up 24 points with ease on Tennessee and left a lot of points on the table, right? Because they went for 2 twice. They went for it on 4th down in the red zone twice. Situations where you would have scored more points in other scenarios between PATs and field goals that you would have kicked if you weren't trying to play catch up. So Syracuse's defense has its question marks, but offensively, Cuse can score points.
Mm-hmm.
And they can sling the ball around too, and they can run the ball too with Yacine Willis. So it is a fascinating game. 17 and a half.
Defend, though? Can they defend Clemson's receivers?
That's what we're going to find out.
But the problem is,
can Clemson's receivers get the ball?
Clemson's shooting themselves in the foot. I mean, honestly, if I like anything in this game, it's the under, to be honest with you.
That's valid. I I don't see a world where Clemson wins this game by 17.5 points.
I do, because it could always, any week could be the week they
You
figure
could
it
just
out.
click.
So
That's and if you know anything about Syracuse football, this would be the week. This would be the week Clemson figures it out and scores 56.
So anything is possible. If I had to pick against the spread here, which I won't in real life because I just don't like the number at all. If I had to pick a side, it would be Clemson minus 17.5.
Wow.
But
Okay.
I just don't, because it's like the other shoe is always on the verge of dropping. But I can't trust them. I can't trust either side here yet. It's too early.
I'm picking Syracuse to go win the game. But that's because I want people to listen to my radio show.
There you go. That's, and I can support that decision.
Syracuse fans get behind a homer,
Oh, yeah.
For sure. For sure. No, an interesting game. Good slate. Not as great of a slate as we had last week, but they can't.
No.
That's what makes slates like last week
It's
special.
still pretty solid, man. You got like 3 pretty good ranked matchups, one in each conference, or one in multiple different conferences.
Oh, no, we've gotten Raza back. Yeah, no, it's a good slate.
Yeah,
for sure. All right. Enjoy your college football weekend. Follow us on social media as always at Got It Covered FB. Hit the like, hit the comment, hit the subscribe button. We're going to come out with our NFL picks as well. Enjoy your football weekend, everybody.